Morning, Chris. How are you?
Not too bad, yeah.
Good.
Finally been able to get together to discuss your project on the Warrior's Path.
Yes, which is coming up this year.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're all looking forward to that. Can you just tell us a little bit about it and go into the detail? It's fantastic.
Sure. Well, I haven't run the course for quite a few years. There's been a lot of interest for people coming on again. It's for men. It's for people that want to find a bit more meaning and purpose in their life. But to go deeper, I think that what I found is that a lot of guys, they focus on a future arrival point. So they think, if once I get to this particular point, I'm going to become the man I want to be, I'm going to be confident, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be courageous. And of course, that future point often never arises.
Yep.
So what On the Warrior's Path is about is to make, no matter what age a man is to reevaluate what his values are in life and what he wants to stand for as a man. So I often say that use courage as your primary aim in life and everything that stands for. Integrity, talking the truth, living from truth, being resilient, and let your life unfold from there, or reinvent your life accordingly. Because
it makes complete sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think what men think that if they achieve some sort of accreditation, some sort of arrival point, and I remember I did this when I won the Southern England bodybuilding title as a young man. I thought, once I stand on stage with that winner's trophy, I'm going to suddenly arrive into this confident, courageous man, and I'll be at peace. But of course, I stood on stage with the first place trophy, and I'd never felt more fear and insecurity than I had in my life, because I relied on how I looked. So I wanted to create a course that takes us back to what it is to be a man, and to what he wants to stand for in life. Because what's a concern is when I coach guys privately, I say to them, "What do you stand for?" And they can't answer it, and that's a problem.
Such a shame.
Yeah,
because they should have that direction.
Absolutely,
they should have those prospects, and want to know where they want to go in life. Yeah, it's so important, especially these days. It's even more so important. There's a whole load of uncertainty going on in the world, a whole load of fear and concern for the future, not just for the man, but for his children, for his family. Absolutely.
So he needs to know what he stands for. And a lot of guys have said to me, well, if I don't know what I stand for, what do I do? And I say, well, the first point to look at is have a look at what you fall for. Yeah. So do you fall for alcohol? Do you fall to porn? Do you fall to womanizing? Do you fall to drugs, cocaine? I mean, whatever it may be, look at what you fall for. Do you fall for gossip? Whatever it may be.
I think everyone falls for something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's important to, as you say, to distinguish that. And to work out what it is and work on that. Yeah. And you're the man to do that. I think you're the man to help people. And to
well, I've got a good team with me, so which is everything. No man can do much on his own, but with a good team, he can really make some inroads.
I think that's important as well, is having people with the same vision as you. Yeah. Mentoring and helping people who have similar backgrounds and who are stuck in life, who have no direction. Yeah. For me personally, I met you at a pretty good time, to be fair. Because now I've identified where I want to be, what I want to be doing, but now it's just finding the courage to be able to do that going forward. You know, so I think I met you just at the right time in my life. So
and I think we do, when we look at our lives and what we've done. I think we go into areas, and it could be business, it could be sporting achievements, and I think we go into them to avoid what we won't look at. So if we can really excel in one area, we feel that maybe that compensates for the areas we won't look at. Yeah. But the problem is, though, I can't remember what famous author said it, what we run from looks for us anyway. And eventually we have to face that reality that our achievements and distractions we use in life can never take away that pain of not feeling enough. Yeah. And I just wanted to build a course around that for guys where they could actually look at what they fall for, look at who they really want to be, and be the man they were born to be. I know that sounds cliched and a bit corny, but there's no way men, especially modern men, are anywhere near their potential, what they can achieve and who they can be.
I was just about to say that I think every man has potential. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, you've got potential to do something, and you've got to find that why and what. to get that direction and to make sure you're making the right decisions.
Absolutely.
And I certainly believe that is key going forwards. Getting guys together in a similar situation to make sure that we all work together as a community, not just individuals. And we're led by people who know which direction you should be going in, rather than being directed by people who are dictating to you which direction to be going in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we've been fed a lie of the lone wolf, the man as the lone wolf, dog eat dog, every man for himself, and it is a fundamental lie, because there's nowhere in history that any man could do things entirely on his own. He needs a team, he needs collaboration.
Absolutely.
And he needs vulnerability as well. He needs that's where the ultimate courage is, to be vulnerable enough to talk about what your problems are and what you're suffering from. And going forward with it.
So important, and as men, we don't do that enough.
We don't,
and it's so important to, especially these days, to get together, even if it's just with your mate or one of your friends, and someone who would sit down and listen, to be able for you to identify, because I've identified now where my weaknesses are, and even though I'm going through all this stuff at the moment physically, in my mind I know where I should be. But my physicality is really kind of holding me back. But you've made me see that it's still there. I still got the potential to be a leader, to be a coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you have to recreate yourself and reinvent yourself, because I think the main thing from speaking to guys over 30 years is that they develop a fixed image of themselves, whatever that may be, and that fixed image of themselves stops them not just moving forward, but seeing themselves as they really are.
Yep.
For instance, yourself, like Chris the personal trainer. Everyone knows Chris the personal trainer, and when you attempt to recreate yourself into something else and let that go, you're not only dealing with your own perception of who you are, but everybody else's perception of who you are.
Of course, yeah.
And that can be enticing to pull people back. I see that so often, is that guys won't change because they haven't only got the image of themselves, but everyone else has got an image of them as well.
Yeah.
So to move forward is never. I know. I always say real transformation is hard. It's really difficult, and you need a support team around you that's going to allow you to do that. Because even, I spoke to you about this before a couple of weeks ago. I've even had parents and family and close family members try to sabotage the man that attempts to change for the good.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're not used to it.
Yeah.
And they start to say, well, who is this guy that's changing? We don't know who he is. Well, the truth is they never knew who he was anyway.
Yeah.
Because only a man can really know himself and understand himself. It's not up to anybody else to do that.
The way the children are brought up and taught their beliefs, rather than let them find their own beliefs.
Yeah.
So it's the way they're brought up and the way they're taught. It's such a shame, obviously, because society is the thing that kind of molds that situation.
Yeah, totally. And it's not always correct, and it's not always. And I think it was 𝗧𝗵𝗲 𝗪𝗁𝗂 that always said the secret to life is to have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I think that's really true.
Yeah.
You can't really make an impact in society unless sometimes you step out of it to see what's going on.
Yeah,
otherwise you'll be too fully in, and you have to fit in with that ideology.
That's right. I mean, I saw a lady the other day, and I wasn't walking very well that day, and she called across the road. Oh, you had an injury? You okay? You're normally running up and down. I said, oh, I've got a bit of an issue in a moment, but I'm working through it, because everyone knows me as the fitness guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
In _𝗵𝗲. So it's one, as you say, it's back to that perception of who you are. Everyone sees you as a certain an image, or how they feel they see you, and it's difficult to put into place those changes because you worry too much about what other people are going to think.
Yeah, you're trying to live up to their image as well.
Exactly. That's exactly. Sorry, that's a very well put there. Yeah. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so important not to listen to people too much who don't really mean anything to you, or who aren't actually in your life. I've learned that now. I've got my own little bubble at the moment with my family because of everything going on. There's only a certain few people who actually really understand what's going on, and I am making changes, as you suggested, and I believe I'm turning a corner in myself.
Yeah.
In my mentality, not physicality yet. I don't think that's going to come for a while, but but definitely mentally.
But it's not easy though, is it?
No,
it's not easy.
No.
And I think without any disrespect to anybody teaching personal development courses out there, you know, change doesn't happen in some happy clappy nice atmosphere, jumping up and down on stage. It's really uncomfortable, and it can be outright disturbing to let you, all the stuff go that you've been led to believe is truth, and it's not truth, and you find out actually it's not the truth. No. It's just what I was led down into believing. And I think I wanted to make the course on the Warrior's Path very different from that. So it's far from jumping up and down on stage, a happy clappy atmosphere. It's actually physically testing to a degree. It is entirely online, the course, but obviously, as you know, there's going to be 6 live seminars that people can come to. But we're going to teach them how to eat. Because, I mean, if I really, apart from the primary aim of a man's life being towards courage, and I truly believe that's what it is, you've got to define what you're aiming at and why you're doing that. Absolutely. Because if you haven't got, most guys out there have got an aim of what they want to do, what business they want to have, what house they want to have, what car they want to drive. But they don't aim at the man that they really want to be, that's going to make the world a better place. And that's super powerful. And I wanted to create a course around that, but also bring into the basics that control your palate, what you eat, control your physical fitness, how you move, and the strength and conditioning you decide to undertake. Control what you say. Control what you say and what you think, and all those things that are really important. So if you can control that, then you've got 3 major things in place, which is why we came up with the framework, food, thought, and movement, which is like, if you can think in a certain way, eat in a certain way, and move in a certain way, you're going to have the basics pretty much covered. And we're all going to have negative thoughts, all of us. You know that with your struggles at the moment, we're all going to have negative thoughts. But the difference is we can see them, accept them, and the more you actually accept these thoughts, the more we can likely to change them in a much more shorter time span. Because you can have a negative thought about, it could be anything. Let's say a guy thinks, I'm not worthy. I can't get a better job. I can't be a better man. Then from that, it's going to be like a tree. There's going to be loads of branches that are going to create him to speak a certain way, move a certain way, eat a certain way. He's going to be driven to more vice.
Without doubt.
It's going to be like the branches of a tree. But if he can see that and go, you know what, I keep feeding myself that narrative and it's not even true, the sooner you can let it go. And it's not about not having negative thoughts. It's about letting them go more quickly, because you process them and seeing them more quickly.
I've got a great example of that. I was like speaking to somebody maybe 2 weeks ago, and I look back even now, I think, why did I say it that way? I kind of worry about how they thought of me back then when I was talking to them about a situation, and worrying for no reason, because why should that matter? Why should I worry about how they thought what I was saying? It's just little things like that, you know. I mean, not everybody worries like that, but that's how deep sometimes I think, and it kind of beats me up looking back at it still. So it's little things like that where I've got to learn, make it smaller.
I think that is the biggest fear. The great thing is that you can sit there opposite me as a man and admit that. When you can't admit things, when a man, because as you know, in this very farmhouse where we have clients in here every week, and it's the guys that can't admit their weaknesses. They can't admit what their fears and vulnerabilities. They're the ones that can't go anywhere until you admit that. So vulnerability, saying I'm worried about what people think of me. I'm frightened of if I'm a good enough father for my children. Once you say it and even write it down, it's out in the open. You can do something with it. I've been through lots of therapy before, CBT, all that sort of stuff, and writing things down is massive. But I don't do it enough. When I used to have a diary for work, and I used to use that, but because now I don't work, I don't have a diary. So I'm thinking, should I implement that again? Because if I found it useful before, it might be useful again. And it's just compounding those thoughts in one area. So then you can relate back to it. There's something about writing things down and bringing it to light that's immensely powerful. I encourage everybody to write it down. If you've got these thoughts going on in your head that maybe I don't feel enough, maybe don't think I'm a good enough father to my children, you write it down. And once you see it, it's written down, it's like, whoa, it just brings it to light.
I think a lot of men actually worry about writing that down, because once it's written down, maybe they think it's true, and then they start worrying. They worry too much about what they're going to do about it. But that's the start, though, isn't it?
It is the start.
That's where you've got to start. And if you don't, then again, you're never going to have the courage to move forwards.
No.
And to be the man you want to be.
You're locking the door on it. You're locking it down and suppressing it. I mean, it's often an issue. So, so all these things, Unlimited Courage, On the Warrior's Path was a course that, although it's got the physicality behind it, so it's got what to eat and all the rest of it, it's also going to have those weekly clinics where guys can come online. They can submit questions. They can talk about it. They can talk about it live. They can talk about it online. They can even email us personally, anonymously. It's fine.
That's what people need. They need that 24-hour kind of guidance and support. And networking,
especially when you start to change. Because we laughed about this the other week, didn't we? Where I said so many guys say to me, "Everyone's going to support me doing this." And I think to myself, "No, they won't.
No, they won't. No.
They never do."
No.
And sometimes it's the person closest to you. Sometimes it's the who you thought was your best friend. But they never do.
No.
And so by having a support system in place to say, yes, this is quite common, you've got to expect this to happen, it relieves a lot of the burden, because they understand it more. And the only reason people don't accept your change is because it puts them in a situation of insecurity.
Definitely.
Because their own image is reliant upon your image, how you're portraying yourself.
No, of course. So
they build their image around the images of the people around them. So when someone changes, it puts them into... Well, if I don't know who you are anymore, it's kind of like made me uncertain of who I am.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a whole transformation going on there.
So with, when it comes to training in the Warrior's Path, what sort of physical stuff will you be doing going forwards?
I think one of our core things is definitely the Indian warrior cast of bodyweight system, where we do like a lot of Bathaks, Indian squats, Indian push-ups, and loads of other stuff. But the core around it is _𝗧𝗵𝗲, which is that Japanese term of spiritual and physical cleansing, where we take a single repetition on the punching a pad, and we do it over and over again. And what's fascinating about it is that when someone hits a pad, they can use anger, they can use anxiety at the time, whatever they want to release emotion, they draw it out on the pad, which is why you see people cry when they hit the pad sometimes, or get really angry. But the more you do it, that emotion just leaves, and you're just left with this beautiful physical movement of repetition, bang on the pad, and the breath work and the body movement, the power, and the emotion goes. It looks like it's emotional because there's this immense force going on the pad, but actually it's just physical movement, breath, and body. Brilliant. It becomes mindfulness in movement.
Definitely.
And that's a real strong aspect of what we do in that, because I want the guys to leave. I want them to leave the course with a backdrop of physicality and confidence that's innate within them. It's not something they rely on with a skill. It's something and I remember, I think it was Russell Brand said this about Joe Rogan. He said, what makes Joe Rogan such a competent interviewer, and with his messages and the way he conducts his dialogue, is that he comes from a backdrop of that physicality. So his words are a projection from that. His respect is a projection from that. And that's what I want guys to have, and guys should have that, because I don't think any guy should think that, with food, thought, and movement, they're all so important. And I think guys think, well, I can earn a lot of money at my business, but I don't. My diet's rubbish and it doesn't matter. Problem is, if you can't control what you eat to any degree, you're going to open the doorway to all vice.
Of course,
because one vice left open means that all the doorways are open. And there's a line in the Kabbalah that says, "You think you can flirt with your addictions."
Oh, that's a good saying.
That's
brilliant.
You can't. You've either got a grip on them or you haven't. If you've got one strong one going on, then the doorway's open to all of them. So I think that if guys get that level of self-command, that self-leadership, their whole world will change. And it seems far-fetched to say, but you won't believe on the level it will change, getting that command over yourself. It is just astonishing, the level of change by getting command over yourself.
Exactly. You said that so well there about the self. It's all about your self-control. It's about yourself. It's not being told and dictated. You need to believe in yourself. You need to change yourself and your beliefs. Everyone has beliefs, as you say, but to follow that belief, you've got to have the courage and the strength, the power, the stability, no addictions. You got to be open.
You know, that's what you just said. That's the reality of it. That without any fluff. That's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
So if you want to achieve something in life, and the biggest achievement you can make, it's not how much money you earn. It's not the car you drive or the house you own. It will be how you walk in the world as a man. That's the biggest achievement you're going to make.
Yep.
And you will be attacked. You will be discredited. People will come after you. They will try and pull you down, because courage is contagious, but it's also glares the brightest light on those that won't do it. And their reaction to that is to try and pull it down.
Do you know what? A lot of things you said there, the 4 points you said, it reminds me of how I was at school and coming out of school. You know, people came after me, not in sort of a nasty way, but they kind of like putting me back, putting me down, because I was quite good at certain things, and it made me feel like I wasn't, and that I shouldn't be. But I think that's made me the person who I am right now. But I know at the moment I've got a lot of growth there, and I think coming into this process with you and coming to be a coach with yourself, it will teach me a lot going forwards. And I think the Warrior's Path, as we discussed earlier, would be a fantastic way for any man to reach forward, to reach out, get the help they need, and admit they need help to move forwards in life and to be the man they want to become. I've sat down at home and thought about it so much, and everything we've spoken about makes complete and utter sense. If you sit down and analyse your own life, and you think, that's exactly what I need. I need to sit down. I need a bit of guidance. I need that power. I need the right people around me.
You know,
you have to be surrounded by the right people.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Because most guys surround themselves. They think they don't.
Yeah.
Most of them surround themselves with guys that are keeping that image of themselves perfectly intact. If you look at a group of friends, I spoke to a lovely business owner from London just a couple of weeks ago, and he said he thinks he's got a nice group of friends, but his role in that group of friends is to be the belittled one. And although it can sometimes be comedic and it can be funny, it reaches a point where if he was decided not to be that role in the group anymore, what was happening to the group? What would happen to the entire dynamic? And I've done it myself. I had to literally got rid of my phone and got rid of some guys that were going around that were really toxic because I wanted to change. I knew I couldn't do it in that same circle. Now, that's dramatic. I understand that, but I had to do it. But for some people, it may be changing that character of who you are, but you might have to confront certain people by doing that, and that could even be someone's own parents. And it was true of this guy as well. So he started to observe, despite being a business owner in London, a very high income guy, very successful, he realised in his friends that he was supposed to be the belittled one. And then he looked around and he thought, you know what, my wife does it as well. Oh, my parents do it as well.
Wow.
So he had a line running through it all where when he was in people's company, he was the one that was belittled, and he'd got used to that. And man, when he changed that, was there problems? It ruffled so many feathers throughout the whole thing. I mean, now he's got a wonderful life,
right? But
he's completely changed. And that group of friends, I think he had 5 that he went on holiday with, went away with. One of them left. The other 4 have just disbanded and gone.
That's crazy.
So one out of a group of 5 was really with him and thought, I think it's great you're changing. In fact, what are you doing? I'd like to have some of that as well.
Yeah, of course.
But and that's why, back to the beginning, is why the transformation's so hard, because we think that I haven't got to do this on my own. Definitely. Because everyone, the network of friends and family got around me, going to help me. Well, maybe they won't. No. But the thing is, he won't be able to have to do it on his own, because the people involved on the Warrior's Path, the people that attend it will be there.
Definitely. I was just about to say that. I think that is huge. It's what we need. It's what every guy needs. I think if they look at their lives and admit it, you know, that they need to knuckle down and think about who they want to be. And do you know what? It's just talking about it. I want to get started now.
Yeah, it's empowering.
I really want to get started.
We don't have conversations like this enough, do we?
No.
We don't sit down and have conversations like this enough.
But guys don't know.
No.
They don't. They don't talk about what how they want to feel. feelings are put to the back of their mind because they show weakness.
Yeah.
They think if they talk about their feelings, they're showing weakness, and they don't like to look weak.
Well, they go straight to the negative of what showing feelings means for them. So that a boy's been taught from very young, don't show your feelings, armour up, create an image, go out there and just earn a load of money, and then you'll get the sex you need and the life you need and the pleasure you need and everything. And of course, it's a big lie.
Yeah.
But I think if guys really knew what the benefits were of doing this, they'd be astonished, not just in their life, but on the level of society in the world. Yeah, so at the moment, we're living in really fearful, uncertain times all over the Western world, clearly.
Yeah.
And I don't think guys understand what that transformation will mean, because we are in the time of weak men creating hard times. But if a man changes his life, changes his perception and aims at courage, he's not going to be looking at the advice from cowards anymore, weak men. He's going to elevate himself above that, not just in his personal life, career, relationships, but even on the political stage. He's not going to listen to lies anymore. Why would you tune in to people that are lying to you when you're now aiming at courage and know exactly what that means?
Do you know, I think it's coming to light a lot more now, though. I think
absolutely.
Everyone's starting to see it.
But you know what, though, Chris? I even saw and I won't name who it is, I even saw a very, very famous personal development guru on YouTube the other day, and someone asked him a question about, it was slightly political, about how children are being raised. And I could see the fear in the guy's eyes, thinking I've been asked a political question.
Right.
And he said, I can't believe I'm saying this on camera. We can't have that anymore. And this was a very, very successful man. That's not enough for a man. You've got to start speaking the truth and admitting what's going on. Because if you can't admit what's going on around you, you can't admit what's going on within you. And they are one of the same thing. So I think that personal transformation is not just life changing, it's world changing. We get to create the world, and I think that's so exciting. Yeah,
no, definitely. I've got two very close friends of mine, and they're fantastic. And you just know that they're the people who are going to get you through thick and thin.
Yeah,
and they're
going
to be there to support you. And without that backing, without the people who give you that feeling, that sense of worth, and kind of push you forward, you're not going to be able to change either. So you got to make that change. You got to decide now. Really, you got to do it now. We've all got to do it now, because, as you say, it's that time where we all need to make change for the better, for the community. Yeah, and I think
build the tribe.
Yeah, the warrior's part.
Stop being disconnected.
Absolutely,
it's an illusion anyway. There's no disconnection. It's all an illusion, and just create the tribe. Yeah, go forward.
And I think having guys in the same situation, all coming together, having a chat. You know, not necessarily just the physical side, but talking about stuff, and you talk through the training. That is, as a trainer in the past, guys like to talk whilst they're training, because it opens up sort of truth, and you can see kind of the vulnerability in them, in your clients a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because there was that study, wasn't there? And there was a place, I think it was in London, where they found that guys will only talk about their problems if they're working with their hands. So they opened up a place to do woodwork.
Wow.
And guys are much more likely whilst working to talk about their issues. And I think you're right, physicality does that as well.
Definitely.
Because and I think the physicality is even better, because you're feeling you've just done something, just completed 100 reps on the pad, body weight system, and you're actually building your own confidence and capabilities. And this is the difference between men and women, I think, is that women can go to a therapist and have a really good chat and go, that's a brilliant session. Men need something more. It's not enough. They need to feel empowered on a much bigger level.
Yeah, definitely.
Preferably physically, and then they're more likely to talk about. So give them some empowerment first, and then they're likely to talk about their issues and what they want to overcome.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, without doubt. My client base was mainly women to start with, but then I started to coach more men. And you can see the difference. Like, as you said, if you get the pads out, the women are so focused.
Yeah.
So much more focused on the pads. And then you can see the intent, and you can see the emotion, and they're more controlled. But the guys are kind of like, you don't know what they're going to do.
No,
you got to
I totally agree.
Some guys have really smashed out the pads, and I'm thinking, right, just control it. Don't go for power. Control. Think about what you're doing. Think about your breathing. All that sort of stuff, and you can just see that if they're having a shit day, you know they're having a crap day.
Yeah.
You just know, and you kind of learn. I think I'm quite a good reader of people now, and I can tell when someone's having a rough time. Then you kind of realise, well, actually, I better not say that, because it's not going to give them empowerment. It's going to make them feel shit. But there's not enough of that. There's not enough of that around. People don't try and read people's emotions, which I feel sometimes is a bad thing, because people are afraid of hurting people or offending people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you'd be using it in a very positive way by empowering men, and giving them that sense of belief, and making them feel good about themselves. Because
let's be honest, when it comes to that kind of physicality, men, whether we want to admit it or not, men come from the hunter-gatherer. He was the protector, he was the supplier, he's the one that went out and brought the food in, he was the protector of the tribe. That's still there.
Yeah.
Now it's been translated into just go and earn money, don't worry about anything else, but it's not enough, because that's why men are feeling so disempowered now.
Yeah.
And I think that and what I love about that training, that we speak about the pad work, is that I don't know, we spoke about this as well, is when they reveal who they are on the pads.
Yeah,
so some will hold their breath, they won't breathe out. No. However, when else are you holding your breath? Some will just go completely over the top. Where else are you going completely over the top in life?
Yeah, definitely.
That's why you have to do a lot of those reps, because eventually you get to the point where I just can't keep this going. I've either got to breathe, or I'm going to fall over, or I've got to stop hitting it that hard. I'm going to not have the energy.
That's such a clever way of putting it, because I look back at some clients who I used to train, and you could just see the ones who are really tense and who had a lot to say. You can just see the ones who got like more to say than others. And if we stop afterwards, I'm like, we have a chat, and then they start letting stuff out. Thinking back, it all makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I really feel that the Warrior's Path will bring it out in so many ways. Not just hitting a pad. Not just doing that, because you're going to guide people how to do it properly with the right stance, with the right power.
Well, it amazes me that looking at the great, I'm not knocking them in any way. I read their books and they're very inspiring, like Carl Jung and 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Freud, and even our modern day, who's great, is Jordan Peterson. But I think they've all missed the gift of the physicality. What moving and training your physical body gives you if you do it in a specific way.
Definitely.
I mean, you can. And I've always said this, and we spoke about this both as trainers. You can train someone physically, and you can for 6 weeks, and they can get more in that six weeks psychologically than will have done a whole year of therapy. Yeah. Because their body's moving, and movement helps you process your emotions, makes you direct them. Yeah, there's a different intent there. It does change how you think. Yeah. It does change the brain just by how you move and how you exercise.
It's the commitment, isn't it? It's the self-commitment. That person, that man, that guy has got to have commitment in himself. It's so important. I was going to say something, but I've completely forgot. I was so drawn to what you say.
It's definitely been missed, and that's why I thought, well, surely then, if it's so important and it's such a vital part of personal transformation, let's bring it all together. Definitely. Let's bring in how to move, how to eat, and the thought process. And when it comes to thought process, we've obviously developed the philosophy of the 7 courages, which I've been working on all my life. Those 7 courages. So we start with the courage of responsibility. We work through from courage of self-discipline right through to the courage of integrity, about how to build a philosophy. And I think the potential of the 7 courages is huge, because a lot of young guys say to me, part of me is interested in religion, part of me is not. I'm put off by all the rituals and all the dogma and so on. Yeah. And I always say to them, just start with philosophy, because philosophy, I actually think, and obviously some people listening to this might be offended by this, but I think it's an important point to make, is that religion has become about the rituals. It's all become about the ritual. So it's supposed to be about worshipping God, but I think people are mostly worshipping themselves, because the ritual has become all-encompassing. It's become the thing that people say, yes, but we do this, we could do this on a Sunday, or we pray multiple times a day. They're all rituals. Well, the ritual's not the thing, but philosophy is actually encouraged. It translates as the guiding principle behaviour. So it's basically saying, be the best man you can be. Right. Take responsibility for your life. Behave in a certain way. But I just think that we've got to look at why we're believing in certain things. Are we going into a certain belief because we want security, because we want to feel a certain belonging, or are we going in because we really want to change the way we are?
Yeah,
and there's a big difference there.
Definitely.
So that's why I'm incredibly interested in religion. I read all of them, all of the religions I've read through, and I like them. And I think, I've always said, I think if Jesus and Muhammad came back tomorrow, they'd probably disown most of their followers. And the Buddha, he'd probably disown most of them, saying, "What are you doing?
It's just the way
this is not.
This
is not about the ritual.
Yeah,
it's about who you are."
Yeah, I mean, my friend Dean, as you know, he's a Christian.
He's a good guy.
He's a recovering alcoholic, and he's done amazingly well. He turned to Christ, and do you know what? I'm so proud of how he's become the man he is.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy.
He's a lovely guy, and you can see he's got those beliefs, and he's really drawn upon that. And he's completely he accepts that not everybody will believe what he believes. And I think that a lot of Christians are like that, but then there are people who are religious who it's a little bit too strict. Do you know what I'm saying there? Where it's nothing beyond. You can't see beyond religion. It's all life is religion. It's all, as you say, it's ritual. It's got to be done by the book, and you can't look out the box. You can't think about your own beliefs actually, because it's just the way they're taught.
And then it becomes irreligious, not religion, because it's about man worshipping himself, his own ego, what he wants to believe. If you're a man of hate, you can easily go into the Bible or the Quran and find, or anything actually, and find Bhagavad Gita, and you can find what you feel is proof of why I should act a certain way that may be quite hateful, because it says it in the scripture.
Sorry, I'm smiling because you're saying all these books and all that sort of stuff. I haven't got a clue.
It's okay.
I'm like, okay, but I know what you mean. I know what you're trying to
but and that's the thing is you can look in any, but you can look in also in all these scriptures and you can find love. So you can find love in there. You can find connection and compassion, or you can find hate. If you're really looking for it, and you need to find it, you'll find words of hate.
Yeah.
And what I love about philosophy is it's just, I think it's a more practical way, and I think it's a good starting point, because when you're saying to someone, "Oh, you got to believe in God," straight away you're going to say, "Well, what does that even mean? What word? It's a loaded word. What does that even mean? Are you talking about universal energy? You're talking about a man in the sky?"
See, universal energy is massive. It's becoming more. It's becoming more in society. I think a lot of people are looking outwards now and looking beyond that into the universe and the powers and like yoga, the breathing, that sort of stuff. Very spiritually. Not necessarily religion, but I think it's huge. It's absolutely massive these days, and I think it's essential as well. Yeah,
and I think that, as I said before, I think philosophy might just lead you to a place where you say, you know what, I don't believe or I do believe, but what does it matter? No, because if that man's worked on all his weaknesses and become the best version of himself that he can, or he's working towards it, what does it matter?
Yeah, I feel that's why we're put on this earth, is to be the best we can.
Absolutely, to learn and become the best we can.
Why would you be put on this earth to devalue yourself and to be belittled by people and stuff like that? You know, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I was nearly in that situation, and I think I was in that situation. I was down. I was depressed many years ago, but I got pulled out of it a number of times in different ways, with different philosophies, different beliefs. But until you work out your own philosophy, as you say, you won't get out of it properly. I think that you're always going to be dragged back. You're always going to be pulled back by people.
And we've got direct science, haven't we, for what that is? I mean, there's I can't remember the whole quote, but I think there's a spiritual teacher called 𝗬𝗪 that spoke about that every kind of anxiety, every kind of depressive thought we have is a prompt to say you need to look there. They're not there to condemn you. They're there for you to look at and improve upon, and they're like physical messages for you to act upon.
Definitely.
I think that's really powerful, because we tend to get anxious and fearful or depressed and think, oh dear, it's just my life, it's here to condemn me. But actually, what 𝗪𝗵 was speaking about was that they're actually there to help you, to guide you, and take you forward. So we do really know what fulfills us. Every man knows what fulfills him and what doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, if you don't see your children and they're upset with you never seeing them, there's a sign there that you need to maybe lean into them more.
Absolutely.
If your wife's giving you loads of quiet silences and you're drifting apart, there's a message there to say that something needs to be addressed and needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
So we do really innately know how we should behave and what makes the world a better place.
Definitely. There's messages everywhere.
Yeah,
Everywhere you go, everything you do every day, there's messages there, and you just got to read it the right way.
Yeah, information.
Yourself,
take its information.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And that's part of your journey. Everybody's put on this earth for a journey, and you're the only person who can decide where that journey goes.
Yeah,
and what the outcome is.
Totally. And the more you can get a tribe of like-minded guys that are willing to do that sort of thing, the more it can impact society itself.
So when it comes back to philosophy with the warrior's path, how do you kind of guide the men who come to you? How do you kind of make them see their philosophy and their belief? Well,
it's funny, I was talking to a lad about this the other night, and he said because he's quite young, but he was interested in Stoicism, and we spoke about the first courage is the courage of responsibility.
Yeah.
So I was saying that imagine you've got a rucksack on your back, and you want to load it up and decide what you want to take responsibility for. So you pick up a stone and you pop it in there, and you've got to get stronger to take that responsibility. So the first responsibility might be it might be for a young man, it might be who's living at home, it might be make sure you take your plate out in the evening when you finish and help clear up.
Yeah.
That might be the first thing you do.
Yeah.
Keep your room tidy. As Jordan Peterson always says, take your plate out. And it's a big one with me at home, actually. Also, the boys, take your plates out. Don't leave them here for anybody else to do it.
I think that's a big thing in most households.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But as you get older, it could be something like, I want to take responsibility for my family in a bigger way. I want to take responsibility if I take responsibility for my family, maybe I can improve my health. Maybe it'll give me more energy. If I eat well, my children see me eating well.
Definitely.
If I exercise, my children will see me exercising.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's about the courage of responsibility.
Yeah.
It's about the things that seemingly don't matter at first, but then there's the big one. Mm-hmm. And that's what I always tell guys, and they're always it's a big reminder for them in the room when I say, actually, your responsibility as a man is to look after the world. And they're like, I thought I started with my own life. Well, you are.
Yeah.
But the responsibility as a man is to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
So when you're rude to people, when you just uncaring about someone on hard times, even outside your own family, you're creating the world that way, and you've got to expect that back. So a man's responsibility is to make the world a better place. And that's a big thing. So I'm basically saying how you're going to walk in the world each day is how you're creating the world around you. So if you want a better world, start being it.
Yeah. And
that's the responsibility of a man. So the courage of responsibility starts with, we will get together and we go, right, what part of my life do I need to focus on?
Yep.
I'm drinking too much, I'm eating too much, whatever it may be. But then the big picture is, but look, I'm not just changing me here. I'm changing society.
Yeah.
I'm changing the world.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you become that powerful person, people will feel that energy and they'll feel that power, and they'll learn. They may even learn off you. So, like raising your children, you've got to set the example. Yeah. So if you're weak and just let them do whatever they want to do, I think all parents are guilty of it now and then, But it's what the normal is. So if you're a man and your children see you being talked down to by their mother every day, that's going to define how they grow up. Yeah.
If you're a man that bullies your wife in front of your children, they're going to take information about the image they created themselves and how they grow up.
Absolutely.
If you're a man that's got no control over your palate and your children are watching, that's going to define their life as well. If you're drinking too much, I mean, I've seen, as you know, we live in a lovely area, but I've seen children speak to me about how every weekend their parents are paralytic drunk and they have to see that. They can hardly put them to bed. Yeah. I've had children telling me they've seen very young men talking to me about how they see their parents snorting cocaine on a Friday night.
Oh my gosh, right.
that is incredibly damaging, and you have got no right to lecture to your children if that's what you're doing. You've just disconnected your words from having any truth in them at all, because you've just neutralized your spoken word to your children by your behaviors.
Yeah.
And the courage of which people say, oh, responsibility, I've heard all this before, and it can be a boring topic, but when you think as a man, I'm creating the world, oh God, is that powerful? I'm actually creating the world.
Yeah, responsibility is a huge word. It's not just responsibility for tiny things. It's for everything.
Yeah,
you have responsibility, self-responsibility for your family. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and people think, well, I'm paying my bills. I'm a responsible person. I'm a pillar of society. I pay my bills. I can go on holidays. I've got responsibility to my family. No, that is not enough. It is nowhere near enough. Who are you as a man? And how are you creating the world? Yeah, and definitely. That then becomes a really powerful conversation. Are you speaking the truth? Are you living the truth?
I think that's why society is so judgmental now these days. Everyone judges everything because they don't know what's the truth.
Yeah.
Because they're so insecure about their own thoughts that they just don't know what's true. And it's paranoia. Because I think a lot of people just don't understand. Back to COVID, obviously, there's so much out there been told. No one knows what the truth is. But then when it comes to responsibility, if you've got a responsibility to do something, you're unsure of yourself of what's going on in society. It's so important to.
Yeah, that's why the time has come. No, it's fine. The time has come for man to come back to himself, as I put in the book. Time for man to come back to himself, because you can't rely on weak men and men that lie to find any truth there. And why would we look at that sort of man anyway for truth? Is it because we want to lie to ourselves? We want to keep our own lie going? Yeah. So we have to come back to ourselves now and create a better society from the ground up.
Yep.
And I'm not knocking women in any way at all. I think women have got their own struggles now. But let's just say, I finish on this, is that I think that if men are going to struggle with their identity, if they're not going to step up, if they're not going to aim at something really worth aiming at as a man, then you've got to expect the children to suffer as well. You've got to expect women to have an identity crisis as well. We cannot expect women to become men and try and be everything for everybody. Yeah. It's up to men to restore it. It's men that can restore the balance of society. I really believe that. We were the ones that were the protectors. We were the ones that
it's gone throughout history, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think if we can start to stand up and correct things now, I truly believe everything can fall into place. But I don't think we can sit back any longer and think, let's just leave women to do their own thing and children to do their own thing, and we just do our own thing. I think that's going to end in disaster, and it is ending in disaster. Yeah. And I think if men can now step up and be more, I think the benefits of that will be huge. Huge.
Well, I'm so excited to see how the Warrior's Path pans out for you in particular, because the way you're portraying it, it's a very exciting prospect, not just for yourself but for everyone.
Yeah, I mean that's my main thing. It's not even about me. It's about the movement of men now to step up and be more. Yeah. Let's build the world back from the ground up.
Absolutely.
Through men. And that, for any women listening to this, if there's any listening to it, they think, well, where does that leave us? It leaves you in an amazing place, because let's get that respect back in. Let's get back that decency back in. Definitely. Let men protect women and children. Let them bring back the old traditional values back in. Absolutely. And live them properly. Live them as a real embodiment of what it is to be a man.
I mean, we could talk all day about this sort of thing, couldn't we? There's so many areas about how men can support a family, but obviously we know women can as well. But yes, as you said, we need to get that back. Respect for men, I think, because they're losing that respect.
They have to get that self-respect back for themselves. I think that's where it will start, and then they can build it through.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm really excited because to be part of that process. Yeah. I'm buzzing. I can't wait.
Well, let's roll it.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Okay.
Listen, nice.
Well, let's finish there. Till next time.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, sorry.
Yeah, good stuff.
Excellent.